So good morning. I want to welcome Ashley Molson.
Good morning, everyone.
Welcome to the This Week podcast, Ashley. As you know, community and collaboration is more important than ever. And with this podcast, we at the Experience New Jersey team want to bring amazing conversations with local business leaders and thought leaders. And so to this end, welcome, Ashley. Ashley is the founder and CEO of the Molson Law Firm, and is an attorney that we work with very often, and that we recommend to our clients here in New Jersey. And so just wanted to bring you on, Ashley, and have people get to know you. How busy are you these days?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for the opportunity. And that intro that you have is so beautiful. It's really, really nice to watch before the episode. We're still quite busy. We have a lot of files that we have from a couple months ago that are closing out. I'd say that the summer holiday, we can definitely feel that. But because all we do is real estate law, and that's what we make ourselves available for, we are still quite busy, we're grateful for that.
Great. Yeah. And I love that you say that you focus on just real estate law. I think people really don't understand how important it is to have an attorney who really does that all day long, and how it can make or break a transaction, how it can, make or break how smooth it is or how stressful it is.
Yeah.
So maybe we can start with you kind of telling us kind of how in your law career you gravitated towards real estate and how that came about.
Sure. So when I was in law school, I knew that I wanted to have my own practice, and I took a couple courses that were focused on local real estate or local legal areas of law. And when I started my practice, I kind of went into three different areas: real estate, estate planning, and business development for entrepreneurs. And as I was working and getting real estate files and also work in the other areas, I realized how much I really, really loved working with home buyers, home sellers, investors, and the need in the community for an attorney like myself, who could look at the transaction as not just kind of like getting the deal closed, but also helping manage their emotions throughout the transaction process, the stress levels. I really tried to focus on systematizing things so that I could be available to hold space for clients in the difficult times of the transactions. And I was hearing that it was just really unique to have someone with my energy. And I was like, okay, I think I'm onto something, and I'm going to continue doing this. And as I got better at it, the more I loved it. And now real estate in general is a passion of mine as far as opportunity for people to build wealth. And it's expanded me in so many different ways. And I can see the impact on my clients too.
I love that. And I think you and I have been working together for many years. I think we initially met through a women's networking group called Believe, Inspire, Grow.
Yes.
Which is also native to New Jersey, and Tara Gilvar founded that organization. And it's funny because I was actually doing an event with a mortgage lender a couple days ago, and there were like 5 different women in the room from different, areas of the industry. And we all realized that the common thread holding us all together was that we had originally met through Big years ago.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I know.
It's like very full circle,
Exactly. Yes, and I need to let Tara Gilvar know, right? Because people who, are leaders in that way and create the space for entrepreneurs to meet and all of that, sometimes they just need to know the impact that they had. So note to self to do that.
Hopefully she's listening.
Yes. But I think, a lot of the synergy that we have is that we're growing parallel businesses, myself in real estate, you in law. But I think we're approaching it the same way. I think we believe in, doing right by the client, educating them, and building a team to be able to support you and leverage you so that you can do what you do best, and kind of scale that to help more people.
Absolutely.
And so I really I've been watching you, grow this and develop this over the years. And I've learned a lot from watching you as well. And we love working with your team. I mean, you have a good team, put together. And I know that our operations manager and our agents really always feel like our clients are in the best of hands when they're working with you and your team. So, so thank you for that.
So grateful to hear that. Thank you. And
yeah, it makes a difference.
I know when I first came out into the space of starting the law practice, and when I heard about you, I was like, that is an agent that I know that I want to work with because of the way that I saw you work, and also the space that you hold for growing yourself in the community as well. And you can really feel that, even though it's not directly when working with the clients, but your perspective on things, comes from that place. And we feel, very lucky to work with you and your team as well.
I love it. Well, thank you. So in terms of, working in the real estate space, you work with buyers and sellers, with investors. Is there, any particular, niche that that you gravitate towards, or do you, what's your favorite client?
Sure. We really like to work with clients who see us as a avid team member for them and with them. We also like to work with clients that are like really expressive and who want to have a very authentic experience and to be authentic throughout the transaction process. So I'd say it's as opposed to like a category of people, it's more like personality traits that we look for. We are really tech forward and tech savvy. So more older school clients, I'd say, like, aren't really the people who gravitate towards us, but people who are professionals who want to know that they maybe can check in with us even once a day and that their file is being handled. But we're also there for the people who want to call us like 3 or 4 times a day, text us, email us as many times as they want. We're really like hand holders, and we really like when clients are wanting to be involved in the strategy and hear us out on their options and be like, thank you for letting me be in the driver's seat, but I know you're my co-pilot. And we really like function well in that kind of environment with the clients.
Yeah, absolutely. And I that totally relate to that. So let's talk about technology a little bit, because you do embrace technology in your practice, and some people and some clients might feel that it's it kind of adds a layer, or it's kind of creates a divide. But you've used it. Like, why don't you tell us about some of the systems that you use to really, on the contrary, connect with your clients more and make the transaction feel that it's going smoothly?
Yeah, so I'd say the biggest piece of software that we use that has the impact on clients the most is Track with Ease. And Track with Ease is a software that's developed for real estate attorneys, and specifically New Jersey real estate attorneys, but any real estate attorney that is in the US or even across the world. But what we like about it and the way we see it is we consider it kind of like an open, the opening of Pandora's box, so to speak, with all the things that we are going to be doing on your behalf, especially with respect to the things that are predicted in a transaction that we know are going to happen. So it allows us to show the clients that we are going to be doing these things, when we're going to do them, how we're communicating that to not just the clients, but the agents, the other side of the transaction. And then because that's taken care of, that creates space for us to then have deeper connections with the clients. So we don't really have to spend our time talking about, oh, okay, here's our update on the phone. We're letting them know we called the lender, we did this, we did that. They can see that stuff. So we don't even need to like touch it because it's seen and it's known. So it creates more opportunity for us to like not spend an hour talking about that stuff when we could be talking about strategy on the home inspections and things like that.
Yeah, and strategy is so important.
Oh, yeah.
And I would say that also your use of video explanations is amazing, because just recently we had a client, a mutual client in Mendham, who had like a crazy work schedule, and it was very hard to connect with her during work hours. But unfortunately, there were some deadlines that needed to be met, and so you actually did a video explanation of the contract, or the attorney review letter that she needed to approve, so that she could quickly, look through that and do that after hours, so that first thing in the morning we could, get the deal done. So
yes, that's been really, really helpful for us too. The videos really allow us to put every single kind of nuance that we need to. It gives them an insight into our minds almost.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Because when you're on the phone, they'll interrupt, they might ask questions. This allows them to basically have like almost a seminar on like what's going on. And They can listen to it at 2 times speed, so they can speed it up if they want, which is nice.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. And our team does that too. I mean, our operations manager, Jenna, uses that for our agents now, like little short explanations, I mean, it's really, and I think that all of this is like another kind of synergy that we have, is that, we attend a lot of conferences for our industry, right? Like, we're very forward thinking. You are a full-time attorney. I am a full-time realtor. We're not part-timers in any way. This is not a hobby. We want to always strive to deliver the best results, the best, service, and incorporate whatever is new in our industries to make that happen. So, I know that, Molson Law Firm is your baby, and you're focused on that. But what I love about you is that you also have extracurricular activities that are a true passion, and that, blend well with what you do, because you bring the calmness to your clients. And I think that helps a lot. But give us a little bit about your kind of your yoga, practice, and some of the the other things that you're involved with.
Sure. So I've been a dancer since I was young, and probably like 3 or 4 years old. And when I was at a studio when I was in high school, my ballet teacher taught us yoga once a week. And that was when I was 14. And the style of yoga that I was taking was very meditative and so different from like ballet training and all these things that were stressing my body out even at a young age. And I found that I felt at home when I did that. And as I got older, that continued to weave through my life. I continued to take classes. And then when I got to law school and I experienced real stress for the first time, I knew that the only thing that I could give myself as a gift was to do more yoga. And I got certified in it as well, so that I could give that gift to other people. And I had no idea how powerful it was going to be as I started practicing law. But I noticed that when I talk to clients, like sometimes I'll pause and like take a nice long inhale, and they'll kind of follow along with me, even if I don't tell them to. And that kind of calmness and energy really does come across the phone to them, and create space for them to relax. And I also communicate that to them. I don't hide the fact that I'm a yoga instructor. So it's really become very integral in my practice, and I continue to keep it up because as an attorney, I experience the stress, too, of my clients and their transactions. And then I continue to dance, and I hike a lot. I love nature and expanding my mind by traveling. And I always come back with like renewed energy and ideas from all of these different kind of extracurriculars that I pour into my law practice.
I love it. And you also came back from a recent trip with a ring on your finger, right? On your engagement. I'm very happy for you. So I think, let's kind of talk about the future and the year to come a little bit here, because there's a lot of, talk of the market is shifting. There's a shift in the air. Is the recession looming? From your perspective, from your kind of legal filter, like what are some of your thoughts on that? Or, what are some of your clients voicing as a concern? Kind of share with us what's kind of being talked about in your current transactions.
Sure. So I think that there's definitely a lot of fear out there and anxiety. It's definitely being infiltrated into people's spaces, and a lot of people are kind of repeating what they're hearing. But when you really sit back to think about it, every market shift creates opportunities. And what I see as far as like silver linings of what's to come is that, first of all, there was so much free money being printed, and there needed to be kind of like a stop put to that, and to go through this period as a society where inflation is kind of trying to be curved is a necessary evil, so to speak. But I'm recognizing that there's going to be people who qualify for these new loans that are coming. And a lot of people, when they sit back and look at the long term, they notice that there's definitely going to be opportunities to refinance again in the future. This isn't a forever thing. It's just to get in. And I see that the pool of getting in is definitely a little tighter. We're seeing buyers, being really, really conscientious about like the homes that they're making offers on. It's not as kind of Wild West as it was a year ago. I'd say there's a lot more intention in the air about the steps that people are taking, and it's more methodical, which means it's a little slower. But that the people who are in it are very serious, which is good. I'd say if I look back at like my canceled files from the last 2 years, there's a lot of them because people were kind of just throwing spaghetti on the wall, but now the people who are in it, like, these are people who know that they're entering a difficult market, and they're taking that conscientious step to do so, and they're doing it because they really want to. So the clients we're working with feel like much more intentional about their transactions.
Oh, that's a great kind of insight. I reposted actually something that you had put on LinkedIn this morning about, why are there a bit more cancellations right now, and kind of what
I'm so sorry. I didn't even see her.
And what are some of those symptoms that we're seeing out there? And I think you're right that, it isn't the wild, crazy COVID times anymore. Like, that has been roped in. And I think people are, maybe overreacting that, that this is leading us, down a downward spiral or path. But I think it really is just bringing people back to a time where there are procedures, there are norms, there are standards. And I think we're just kind of moving back to that. And I think that that's a good thing because, people operating from a place of fear or greed or whatever never leads to a good and healthy transaction. And I think we've been on, either side of those over the years, and we know the difference. But I think that all of this is kind of a return to pre-COVID times, which is not such a bad thing. So
right. And a lot of people who there's a lot of new professionals who came into the market when it was like the way it was. And so it feels scary to kind of go back to what was otherwise normal. And that, like, when I look back, I'm like, this is kind of how it felt 2 years ago, which is kind of nice to have that feeling again. But there's also a lot of opportunity for, I'd say, like, investors to come into the market as well. Like, multifamily properties were just like skyrocketing with their prices, which was really preventing a smaller, investor who might want to buy their first like 6-unit property, for example. And now that competition is being kind of weeded out because the prices have to kind of lower a bit. So it'll be interesting to see what unfolds over the next, 2 years. I'd say looking at it it's going to be a little domino effect that we don't feel like so urgently like we did with COVID. It's going to take its time and its course, and you just got to stay focused.
Agreed. Yeah. And I think, it's just from a consumer standpoint, it's really important to make sure that if you are transacting in these times, that you hire professionals, not amateurs, and also professionals who work well together, right? I mean, you and I have been on the same side of the transaction, on opposite side of the transactions, but I always respect where you're coming from, because I know that you are, knowledgeable, that you educate yourself, you stay on top of the times, and that nothing you're going to say is going to be completely ridiculous or, it's always going to be level-headed. And I think that it's important for consumers to really understand that who they hire to represent them in a real estate transaction, be it the realtor, the inspector, or the attorney, is really an important part of the puzzle. So
Definitely.
and I look forward to the year ahead and navigating these new waters with you and helping our clients get to the closing table in a happy way, with a healthy transaction and a healthy market. And yeah, just Ashley, it's been a pleasure.
Yes, I very much look forward to it, and I'm so grateful. And it was so nice to come on and chat with you. And what you're doing with this podcast is amazing, and also your kind of whole idea of the Experience New Jersey. I love everything about it, and I can't wait to continue to watch you grow and assist our clients. Like you, I think healthy. That was the word that stuck to me. I like that. With a healthy team.
There we go. And also, just lastly, thank you for being a sponsor of our Quest conference. I think that I'm excited to, and I know that you know a lot of realtors in New Jersey, but I'm excited to have you there to interact with a lot of the other realtors that I work with in our local market, because I think that you do bring a lot of education to what you do, and a lot of realtors, if they're working with the right attorney, sometimes despite maybe not knowing what they're doing, an attorney will help navigate them to the closing table as well. So we look forward to seeing you in October at the Quest conference, and until then, we'll see you online.
Sounds good. Thank you, Caroline. Very much looking forward to it, and thank you again.
Thanks, Ashley.